Greetings. Welcome to another edition of our World Spaceflight News Space Newscast. NASA astronauts Nicole Mann and Josh Casada, JAXA astronaut Koichi Wakata, and Roscosmos cosmonaut Anna Kikina arrived at the International Space Station Thursday as the SpaceX Dragon Endurance crew capsule docked to the forward port of the Harmony module at 5:01 p.m. Eastern Time, while the spacecraft were flying 258 miles above the west coast of Africa. Following docking, the quartet opened the hatches and floated aboard the orbital outpost before providing welcoming remarks. The 4 members of Crew 5 will join the Expedition 68 crew of NASA astronauts Bob Hines, Kjell Lindgren, Frank Rubio, and Jessica Watkins, Samantha Cristoforetti of the European Space Agency, and Roscosmos cosmonauts Sergei Prokopyev and Dmitry Petlin. For a short time, the number of crew on the space station will increase to 11 people until Crew 4 departs.
Controllers, which are based here in Hawthorne, are working in tandem with the NASA team in Houston to make sure that everything is going accordingly with Dragon as it continues this controlled approach to station.
And there you do see that very northern tip of Hawaii that we mentioned. Again,
aloha.
Dragon and the International Space Station flying about 260 statute miles above it.
Copies. We'll go.
And that's the call we wanted to hear. Dragon is go for docking. Just a few meters away from the space station now, but when we are about at the 2-meter point, you may hear a call called CHOP, and that stands for the crew hands-off period. While everything has been done autonomously today so far, when we do hear that call CHOP, it means that any re-rendezvous would need to be done automatically through Dragon, and the crew would not be initiating any of that. We are 16 meters away from the International Space Station. On the left is Crew Dragon Endurance coming in for docking. On the top right with its nose cone deployed is the Crew Dragon Freedom that is currently docked to the International Space Station and is the vehicle that Crew 4 will return home on.
As we get closer, we can see more and more of the Dragon vehicle. For those of you wondering what those 4 black circles are, those are the forward Draco thrusters.
SpaceX copies 10 meters.
And 10 meters away from space station now. And if you look at the Dragon capsule, you can actually see the side Draco thrusters thrusting, helping to steer Dragon closer to station accurately.
Should be about a minute until we are docked, and Crew 5 is home for the next few months. Should hear that call for CHOP here momentarily.
2 meters, CHOP.
And there it was.
Copy, 2 meters.
2 meters, crew hands-off point. Happens about 25 seconds before contact.
1 meter.
1 meter.
Dragon,
capture.
SpaceX on the big loop, contact and soft capture complete. Attenuation in progress.
And contact confirmed. Dragon made contact with the International Space Station at 2:01 p.m. Pacific, just off the west coast of Africa.
And here we come through. First one through the hatch is going to be Nicole Mann, commander of Dragon, and now the first Native American woman to live and stay aboard the International Space Station. All hugs and smiles going around. Next one through the hatch is Josh Cassada, the pilot of Dragon. He's getting his welcome and hellos from the crew aboard International Space Station. And we see right now, right past Nicole Mann's hair, is Koichi Wakata of JAXA coming through the hatch. And last but not least, Anna Kikina of Roscosmos just entered the International Space Station, and Crew 5 is officially ingressed from Dragon Endurance into their home for the next 6 months, the International Space Station.
And station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
And Houston, this is station. We are ready for the event.
And Samantha, we'll let you kick it off.
Fantastic. It's been an honor and a pleasure today to welcome on board Crew 5 on board on Crew Dragon Endurance. It's just fantastic to finally have you guys on board. And this is a very special crew. Because it's the first time that we have a Russian cosmonaut flying on a Crew Dragon. So a very special welcome to Anna, who broke the ice on this crew swap that is so important for the resilience and the robustness of our operations on space station. It's also the third time that ISS has the pleasure of welcoming Koichi on board. So welcome back to your home in space, Koichi. And this is also a special flight because Duke and Josh are the very last 8 balls to make it to space. And so to celebrate this, we have a special gift. So without further ado, I'm sure your guys' family want to hear from you. So here's the mic.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Samantha. It's incredible to be in space. Mom, look, I'm finally in space. It's been such a pleasure training with this amazing crew, and we're looking forward to getting to work here on Expedition 68. We've had a chance to thank a lot of people in the past day and a half or so that we've been flying, but I don't know that I had a chance to thank my husband and son. Thank you guys so much. I love you, and Mom and Dad, and my sister Kirsten. Thank you.
I also want to thank Nicole's husband and son for lending her to us. You know, I've been very, very lucky my entire life to be a part of some amazing teams, and it enables us to do some absolutely phenomenal things. And to come up here and meet some of the greatest friends I've ever known and get to spend some time with them up here is just, it's breathtaking. Also, I am so thankful to my family for enabling me to do this. I know it's been a complete pain, but it is certainly worth it. And thank you to everybody who's enabled us to do this. And that doesn't mean just the people who know what they're doing. Everyone in my life has contributed in some small way to this, and I can't thank you enough.
Samantha, thank you for the warm introduction, and it's great to be back in 0G, and this is like coming back to a home away from home for me, And I really appreciate my family's support for me to be able to do this. And I also like to thank everyone who supports the International Space Station Program, SpaceX, NASA, Roscosmos, CSA, European Space Agency, and of course my home agency, JAXA. I really appreciate all the help you provided to make this happen. I cannot wait to work with this wonderful crew on Expedition 68.
Yes, we overflow with emotions, with feelings, with glad, and really glad to share that time with the guys on the station. I really happy share my time with that people and with everybody who with us, who did a lot of job for existing all of that, and for all people who just glad in with us, glad for us, sharing with us your feelings. It's super for people. Теперь по-русски. Я очень рада.
I'm so very happy.
Я очень рада, что я здесь.
I'm extremely happy that I'm here, really. I'd like to say in Russian, a lot of people are working hard and will keep working hard to make sure that everything, this our common manned space exploration will continue to exist, to develop further. We're here and we're living proof of it. You see, I was given flowers. This is so wonderful to have international friends and these communications here and on the ground. This is wonderful. And of course, my big hello to everybody on earth, and to my family, to my husband, Angelina, my mom, my brothers, to everybody who was able to come and support me at the launch site. It was a miracle that you managed to actually make it to the launch site. And here you see this toy is a symbol of my city, Novosibirsk. His name is Gorodovichok. So, guys, everything is super.
And your families are awesome. And thank you also from our side for all you guys' support. And Crew 5, welcome to Expedition 68. And that concludes the event.
Thank you, station. We are now resuming operational audio communications.
Thursday's planned SpaceX launch of 2 Intelsat satellites was aborted at the T-30-second mark, spoiling the opportunity for the company to conduct 3 launches within 31 hours. If they had succeeded, they would have set a world record for the shortest time for 3 launches of the same launcher. The Wednesday launch at noon of the Crew 5 mission had been followed by a successful Starlink launch from Vandenberg that evening.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
There's that call out. Now just waiting for the launch director's last call.
Go for launch.
And excellent news. All systems are go for launch of Falcon 9 with Intelsat Galaxy 33, Galaxy 34 payloads.
T-minus 30 seconds. Launch abort has started. Abort.
And as you just heard on the countdown, we have a hold. The launch countdown has aborted. We are going to check in with the teams to see if we can get a little bit more information, and we will see if we can bring some information back to you.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engine full power. And liftoff of Starlink 429. Go Falcon 9. Vehicle is pitching downrange. M1D chamber pressure is nominal. Power and telemetry nominal. Falcon supersonic.
And there we just heard Falcon 9 is now traveling faster than the speed of sound.
Max Q.
And there we heard that Falcon 9 passed through max Q, which is the period of maximum dynamic pressure that the vehicle will feel during flight. So we're going to throttle those Merlin engines back up in preparation for main engine cutoff. We're about 1 minute away from main engine cutoff, or MECO, if you're following along with the timeline there at the bottom of your screen. Following MECO, we'll have stage separation and second engine start, and we just heard that MVAC chill has begun. That's when we flow a little bit of the super chilled liquid oxygen into the turbo pump of the second stage engine, the MVAC, in order to prepare the hardware for the full flow of liquid oxygen. About 10 seconds away from main engine cutoff.
MECO. Stage separation confirmed. MVAC ignition.
All right, quick succession there. Next up will be fairing deploy, and there we saw it live.
Fairing separation confirmed.
Separation confirmed. We can now see the Starlink satellites as well as the grid fins on the left-hand side of your screen now being deployed on the first stage. Today we will attempt to recover those fairing halves again to use on a future mission. Beautiful view on the right-hand side of your screen as that MVAC nozzle begins to develop a beautiful red-orange glow. I love that view of planet Earth in the background. We can see first stage on the left-hand side of your screen is still slightly gaining in altitude. It has not yet reached its apogee. The next major event in about less than 2 minutes will be stage 1 entry burn. We will ignite 3 of the Merlin 1D engines at the base of the first stage in order to help slow the vehicle down as it re-enters the Earth's atmosphere. As I mentioned before, today's mission marks SpaceX's 45th launch this year. Sound like we had a call out that both vehicles are following nominal trajectories, so everything looking good there. Booster you saw on the left-hand side of your screen, previously supported NROL 87 and 85, Sarah 1, and a Starlink mission, making today its 5th flight. As a reminder, Starlink is a satellite internet constellation designed and manufactured by SpaceX to provide high-speed, low-latency internet to people living in remote and rural locations all around the globe. Service is currently available in 49 markets around the world. So we are about 15 seconds away from stage 1 entry burn. That will be followed by the landing burn of the first stage.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
There on your screen, we can see that entry burn has begun with the first stage on the left-hand side of your screen.
Stage 1 entry burn shut down.
All right, and that first of 2 maneuvers that the first stage is due to complete is now done, and we can see the grid fins actuating to help steer the booster to a precise landing on our drone ship. As the clouds...
Stage 1 FTS has safe.
As the clouds get closer into view, you can get a better sense of just how fast the vehicle is traveling. Based on the telemetry there on screen, we can see that it is coming down to about 4,000 kilometers per hour. Really demonstrating the ability of the atmosphere to help slow the vehicle down, in addition to the re-entry burn.
Stage 1 transonic.
All right, we're about 30 seconds away from the first stage landing burn. Right about the same time as we expect to see the first stage land, we should also hear call-outs for second engine cutoff, as well as hopefully good orbit.
Stage 2 terminal guidance. Stage 1 landing burn.
So there we can see the landing burn has begun. Rushing through the clouds, and there's the drone ship.
Stage 2
now in view.
FTS has safe. Landing leg deploy.
And there you can see on your
Stage 1 landing
screen
confirmed.
and heard there with the call out, Falcon 9 has successfully landing, marking the 145th landing of an orbital class rocket, our 45th launch of 2022,
Back shutdown.
and our second launch today.
Elon Musk tweeted this lower-resolution video view from a Starlink satellite showing the deployment in progress and the second stage deorbit burn in the background. National security professor David Burbach is perturbed by the huge size of the upcoming second-generation Starlink satellites, as outlined in this chart in his tweet this week.
Welcome to the launch of the General Atomics Gazelle spacecraft to low Earth orbit. I'm Greg Burgess, Vice President of GAEMS's Space Systems Division. The Gazelle spacecraft is hosting 2 payloads, the NOAA-provided Argos 4 animal tracking payload and the Radmon radiation monitoring system. We are proud to join our partners at NOAA, CNES, the U.S. Space Force, KSAT, and Rocket Lab to launch this critical capability to capture, process, and distribute environmental data globally. The Gazelle spacecraft is the first satellite that General Atomics has built as part of our science and weather program. It's based on the same platform we used for the Orbital Testbed 1 satellite we launched in 2019, as well as the base platform for our NASA Thesis 2 spacecraft scheduled for launch in 2024. Lofting the Argos 4 payload will significantly increase the speed and reach of the Argos constellation, joining its sisters in space to collect global animal movement and migration data.
With this launch, the Argos system will be improved and extended, which will benefit all current and future users around the world. There are several thousand individual users or programs using Argos to track more than 13,000 objects today, primarily for wildlife tracking, such as seals, turtles, dolphins, and many more. This also includes ocean applications, including weather stations in very remote locations such as Antarctica and Greenland, among many others. The US is the largest Argos user of 100+ countries that have Argos applications. NOAA Fisheries is the largest US user, with more than 30 individual programs for seals, turtles, and many other aquatic species in the Atlantic, Pacific, Gulf of Mexico, Arctic, and Antarctic. NOAA is honored to have been a partner with CNES for the provision of the Argos system since the late 1970s, and thrilled Argos 4 will take us to 50 years of cooperation.
For this program, General Atomics is providing a true end-to-end commercial space capability by designing and building the satellite, hosting a payload for our customer, performing all integration and testing, and operating the space system once it's on orbit. We procured the launch service from Rocket Lab, and we also contracted with KSAT to provide a commercial path for rapidly getting the data to researchers worldwide. We know that our work today will deliver an enduring legacy for many years to come. Understanding the movement and habits of animals helps us better understand the amazing species that we share the planet with, and will help humanity learn how to be better stewards of all life on Earth.
T-minus 20 seconds and counting. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, ignition, 2, 1, liftoff.
Stage 1 proportional, nominal.
T plus 38 seconds and our 31st Electron has lifted off from the pad at Rocket Lab Launch Complex 1. Electron is powering its way to orbit for General Atomics. The next milestone after liftoff is max Q, or maximum aerodynamic pressure. This is the moment during launch when the forces on Electron are at their peak, causing the most amount of stress on the rocket. Let's listen in for the call from Mission Control that Electron has cleared through max Q.
Cleared max Q.
HV battery discharge nominal.
That's confirmation from Mission Control. Electron has successfully throttled down, passed through max Q, and ramped back up ahead of stage separation. We're currently traveling at over 2,000 kilometers per hour and at an altitude of over 20 kilometers. The next 3 milestones happen in relatively quick succession, within seconds of each other. First things first is MECO, or main engine cutoff. The 9 Rutherford engines will throttle down and then shut down completely before step 2 of this sequence. Separation of the first and second stages is next, and you'll see the first stage drop away from the stage 2 body. And lastly, to continue our journey to orbital insertion, we'll see ignition of the single Rutherford engine on Electron's second stage, continuing the journey to deliver the Gazelle spacecraft to its destination.
"15 seconds to MECO.
MECO confirm.
Stage separation successful.
Stage 2 ignition.
And with the nozzle extension on the stage 2 Rutherford engine glowing, we've had successful MECO, separation, and stage 2 ignition. Now that we've passed through the harshest part of Earth's atmosphere, we no longer need to protect the payloads, so we can eject the fairing halves to save some mass. Let's keep an eye on your screens to catch a glimpse. You might have caught a flash of it there on your screen. This fairing has successfully ejected. Stage 2 is continuing nominally with its General Atomics payload to orbit. The vehicle is currently at over 120 kilometers of altitude and reaching speeds of more than 8,500 kilometers per hour.
Guidance is nominal.
Stage 2 propulsion is nominal.
Everything is looking great at the start of our Stage 2 burn. That nozzle extension is glowing red hot as Electron powers through space at over 9,000 kilometers per hour. You'll see on the right of your screen those propellant levels depleting slowly, with about 76% of liquid oxygen and 75% of RP1 kerosene remaining. If you're just joining us, we're live for our 31st Electron mission at Argo's Up From Here for General Atomics. After a successful liftoff at 0609 local time, we're in the first part of our Stage 2 burn. And in case you weren't aware, this week is actually World Space Week, an international celebration of the space industry and the part it plays in the future of humanity. The theme for this week is space and sustainability. This mission for General Atomics contributes to global sustainability by enabling scientists to monitor the behaviors and health of wildlife. Follow our social media channels for more World Space Week updates. Those familiar with our 3D printed engines will know that Rutherford engines use batteries to power their propellant pumps. But, much like anything that runs on batteries, that power source gets depleted, and soon a fresh battery is required to keep things going. The process of switching out this power source mid-flight is what we call the battery hot swap. You should see the battery packs falling away, that shiny silver object on the right of your screen. So let's listen in for the call out from Mission Control.
Stage 2 propulsion still nominal.
Hot swap successful.
And battery hot swap is confirmed. The Stage 2 engine is powering the General Atomics payload to its destination orbit at 750 kilometers above Earth at an inclination of 98 degrees. No, not the 90s pop group, but a Sun Synchronous Orbit, or SSO. This allows the satellite to be positioned over the same location on Earth at the same solar time every day. We're well above the Kármán line now and on our way to orbit. Just before, you might have seen the battery hot swap, where we switched out the depleted batteries from feeding the Rutherford pumps on the second stage engine with a new one. The pumps are driven by an electric motor which provides fuel and oxidizer to the combustion chamber, spinning at a rate of over 42,000 RPM. The vehicle with payload is healthy, currently traveling at speeds of over 18,000 kilometers per hour and at an altitude of over 290 kilometers. This launch marks our 31st mission and our 8th for this year, which is now our highest number of launches in a year, and we still have plenty of 2022 left. As I mentioned earlier, our first mission from LC-2 in Wallops, Virginia is slated for the end of this year, and we're all very excited to baptize our third launch pad in fire from those 9 Rutherford engines. A quick update from Mission Control for our 31st Electron mission. It all goes up from here. Electron is cruising at a speed of over 22,000 kilometers per hour, and it's in an altitude of just over 300 kilometers. With just a 10% LOX remaining and 10% RP1 remaining, we're coming up on SECO or second engine cutoff ahead of kick stage separation.
Guidance on tonal, 27 seconds remaining.
SECO confirm.
Nominal transfer orbit.